Looking for updates on By the Grace of God Season 3? Well, worry no more, as we have got you covered with all the intel on this. After bidding farewell to the current season this March, the demand for the next one seems to be rising. While there seem to be a lot of isekai stories out there, Kami-Tachi has brought a wholesome story that is one of a kind. Is it too soon to demand for a third season? How soon can we get the next one? We've gathered all the information that you need to know about this show. Also known as Kami-Tachi, this show was an original novel series by Roy. The story made it to the screens on January 28, 2014. After this, the light novel was released on September 22, 2017. This was the source of the anime created by Maho Films. The first episode of the show was released on October 4, 2020. Now the wait for By the Grace of God Season 3 is keeping all the fans at the edge of their seats. After the successful run of the first season in 2020, the next one was renewed for January 2023. And the makers certainly were not expecting a response to this new season. However, the second one was a bigger success than its debut season. The last episode of the sequel aired on March 27, 2023, leaving behind a void for quality content. This episode certainly brought closure to the story, but there was no tease to a second season as well. All in all, By the Grace of God Season 3 has not been renewed with any specific update. However, that does not mean that it will not come out anytime soon. It is only a matter of time before there is any more official update. Here are some of the fan reactions after the conclusion of the latest season. And now, the demand for By the Grace of God Season 3 seems to be pretty high. Right with the onset of the first season, there was a good demand for the show and the novels as well. This is not only in the discussions of Reddit, but even the rating and numbers of the show also point to the level of popularity. So the IMDb score of the 2 seasons is currently dwelling around 7.1 stars out of 10. As for my anime list, more than 1 million users have rated the show. The current rating of the 2 seasons is as high as 7 stars out of 10. As more time passes, this rating will increase over a period of time. With this, the demand will also increase, and the makers are sure to get persuaded to bring back By the Grace of God's Season 3 as soon as they can. It was in 2020 that Maho Films announced the joint venture with By the Grace of God's anime. Soon the show was released in October 2020 and earned a big sum for this animation company. A quick glance at the company's history will tell us that this is a relatively new studio and only began creating shows in 2019. Starting with If It's For My Daughter, I'd Even Defeat a Demon Lord, the rest of the shows were quite some successes. The company has the capacity to animate 2 shows in a year. For the year 2023, 2 shows have already been slated with final release dates. This includes By the Grace of God Season 2 and My Unique Skill Makes Me OP Even at Level 1. After this, a show called Dr. Elise, the Royal Lady with the Lamp, is also in line for a release. In conclusion, we can understand that Studio Maho Films is already busy with the work of some of the shows. Thus, 2023 is a busy year for the company. It is only after the release of these 3 banners that there will come out some information about By the Grace of God's Season 3. The isekai fantasy novel by Roy first appeared in the market on January 28, 2014. But it was with the launch of the light novel on September 22, 2017 that the banner got the due reception that it was looking for. So far, 12 volumes of the LN have been released in the public domain. After this, the text continues to release newer books. The manga came out in November 2017, and it currently has 10 volumes in total. The anime went on to adapt the story directly from the light novel. While the extent of adoption from the second season is not known, it is sure that the first season uses content until Novel 5, Chapter 4. After this, 4 more books must have been used for Season 2. This leaves only 3 volumes for By the Grace of God's Season 3. But since Book 13 is also in the making, the season will have plenty of content for a new season. The overall story of this isekai harem is about Ryoma Takebayashi, who has lived the life of a lonely man. Of late, there was nothing in his life as interesting or exciting to look forward to. One fine day, the man ended up losing his life in a tragic accident. But just then, he opens his eyes to a world completely different from the one that he had been living in. Meet the 3 gods who are to aid him in this new world now. All of the 3 lonely gods find this boy to be extremely abiding. This is where the jolly adventures of the boy begin. As the season continues, magic, battles, girls, and relationships fill up the rest of the season. With this, the first season ends with an outing that looks at the commencement of a new era. Moreover, the second season also ends on a cliffhanger. After all the dust settled, Ryoma was left with 2 music boxes at hand. One of those was with him, and he sent the other one to Eliaria. The girl is also waiting to see him in By the Grace of God's Season 3. Now, the next season will open with Ryoma leaving all his work and prioritizing his meeting with Eliara. Some of the episodes will dwell around this romance drama. Only after this will we come to notice that there are far more dangerous things that Ryoma has to deal with. But after some time, his true aspirations will come to the limelight. A large portion of the fans thought that the show was almost too wholesome to handle. However, in defense of BTGOTG, the show is certainly supposed to be a dull and chill watch. Nowhere in the story does the protagonist or any of the characters indicate that this will be an adventurous ride. A lot of the plot details and spoilers point to the fact that the rest of the season will continue to be like this. No strong adventures or journeys will be part of By the Grace of God's Season 3. Moreover, some manga readers suggest that By the Grace of God's Season 3 is to bring closure to the love angle. When Ryoma is finally well settled in life, this is when he will think about his aspirations and wishes for life. The wholesomeness of the show does get tiresome after a point of time. However, the rest of the anime and the storylines are sure to be like this in the arcs to come. Go end of the season. He's an easy target because of this, but Moshiri is the one who has ran this club into the ground. If it wasn't for Project Kirkby, I would even say he was a half-decent chairman back in the day, and that by the grace of God, we could have won something, 3-3. It has only been some time since the latest season bid its farewell. Thus, for the fans to get By the Grace of God Season 3, it would be quite a difficult affair as of now. The continuous release of 2 seasons only points to the fact that Maho Films is ready to generate yet another season. This section will be updated as soon as there is any more detail on this. Thus, keep an eye on the Anime Daily to get all the updates on this right here.